Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern at Lexis and Company for the month of June. And today, I will be discussing about benefits for employees under the Employee State Insurance Act of 1948. Section 46 of the Employee State Insurance Act 1948 provides the various benefits for its employees. Section 46 reads as follows. The purpose of Employee State Insurance Act is to provide benefits as detailed in the Act, particularly in Section 46, to the insured person or the dependents. The following are the benefits provided under Section 46. There are six benefits provided under Section 46. They are sickness benefit, maternity benefit, disablement benefit, dependence benefit, medical benefit, and funeral expenses. Firstly, sickness benefit. Section 49 talks about sickness benefit. It is in the form of periodical payment to any insured person, provided that his sickness is certified by a duly appointed medical practitioner or any person having such qualifications and experience as may be specified by regulations of the corporation. In management of DXN Press versus Labour Court Madras, it was held that it was not possible to accept the contention that since the employee had received sickness benefit under the Act, he is not entitled to receive wages for the period during which he was on sick leave. The qualification of a person to claim sickness benefit is that the conditions subject to which such benefit may be given, the rates and periods thereof, shall be such as may be prescribed by the central government. An award of 7 days sick leave on production of a medical certificate, in addition to the benefits under the ASI Act, was held justified by the Supreme Court. Secondly, maternity benefit. Section 50 talks about maternity benefit. This benefit is in the form of periodical payment available to an insured woman. It is payable in the case of confinement or miscarriage or sickness arising out of pregnancy or premature birth of child. The grounds of eligibility of an insured woman to such payments must be certified by an insurance medical officer. So, Section 50 says that the qualifications of an insured woman to claim maternity benefit, the conditions to which such benefit may be given, the rates and periods thereof, shall be as such as may be prescribed by the central government. Moving on to disablement benefit. Section 51 of the Act talks about disablement benefit. Any insured person shall be entitled to periodical payments if he suffers from disablement. The disablement results from an employment injury, and he sustained the employment injury as an employee under the condition mentioned under the Act. Section 50 lays down the following provisions. A person who sustains temporary disablement for not less than 3 days, excluding the day of the accident, shall be entitled to periodical payment at such rates and for such periods object to such condition as may be prescribed by the central government. A person who sustains permanent disablement, whether total or partial, shall be entitled to periodical payment at such rates and for such periods and subject to such conditions as may be prescribed by the central government. There are 4 subsections under Section 51 which also talks about the disablement benefit. They are Section 51A, presumption as to the accident arising in the course of employment. Section 51A provides that if it is shown that the accident arose in the course of employment of an employee, it would be presumed to have arisen out of employment. Section 51B, accidents happening while in the breach of regulation. Section 51B of the Act provides an explanation to the expression out of and in the course of employment. If the act is done on purpose and in connection with the employer's trade or business, unless the employer is at the time of accident acting in contravention of the provisions of any law applicable to him, or the employee is acting in contravention of any orders given by or on behalf of his employer, or he is acting with instructions from his employers, provided that the accident arises out of and in the course of employment. Section 51C. Accidents happening while traveling in employer's transport. Section 51C of the Act incorporates the principle of notional extension of employer's premises. The section lays down the liability of the employer for the payment of benefit for accident arising while an employee is traveling in any transport provided by the employer. The conditions for holding the employer liable are the following. Firstly, the employee must be traveling by any vehicle with expressed or implied permission of the employers, or he must be going to or coming back from his place of work, or the vehicle must be operated by or on behalf of his employer or some other person in pursuance of an agreement made with the employer. And lastly, the vehicle is not being operated in the ordinary course of public transport service. Section 51D, accident happening while meeting emergency. An accident happening to an employee on the premises of his employment shall be deemed to arise out of and in the course of employment, if the following conditions are satisfied. The employee is on such premises employed for the purposes of employer's trade or business, or the accident happened while he is taking steps to rescue or protect a person who might be injured, and these steps may be taken to avert an actual or supposed emergency to persons. Lastly, Section 51E, accidents happening while commuting to the place of work and vice versa. An accident occurring to an employee while commuting from his residence to the place of employment for duty or from the place of employment to his residence after performing duty shall be deemed to have arisen out of and in the course of employment. Moving on to the fourth main benefit, that is the dependence benefit. Section 52 of the Act talks about dependence benefit, and this benefit is available to such dependents of an insured person who dies as a result of an employment injury sustained as an employee as are entitled to compensation under the Act. Section 50 lays down two provisions. Firstly, if any insured person dies as a result of an employment injury sustained as an employee under this Act, dependence benefit shall be payable at such rates and for such periods and subject to such conditions as may be prescribed by the central government to his dependents. Secondly, in the case the insured person dies without leaving any dependents, as aforesaid, the dependence benefit shall be paid to other dependents of the deceased at such rates and such period as may be prescribed by the central government. The fifth benefit is a medical benefit. Section 56 talks about the medical benefit, which is available to an injured person or to a family member of his family, where such benefit is also extended to the members of his family. The benefit is in the following forms. Firstly, outpatient treatment and attachment in the hospital or dispensary. Secondly, by visits of the home of the insured, or thirdly, as an inpatient in a hospital or other institution. Section 56 provides that medical benefit shall be given to an insured person or to a member of his family where the benefit is extended to his family. According to Section 56 subsection 2, a medical benefit may be given to the in the following form, that is outpatient treatment or attendance in a hospital, dispensary, clinic or other institution, or by visits to the home of an insured person, or treatment as an inpatient in a hospital or institution. According to Section 56 subsection 3, a person shall be entitled to medical benefit during any period, such as for contributions which are payable in respect to him, or in which he is qualified to claim sickness benefit or maternity benefit, or in which he is in receipt of such disablement benefit as does not entitle him to medical benefit under the regulation. The last benefit under this Act is the funeral expenses. Funeral expenses are also paid to the eldest surviving member of the family or to such person who actually incurs funeral expenses. The amount of such payment shall not exceed such amounts as may be prescribed by the central government. And with this, we come to the end for today's topic. Thank you.